Started off simple. What attracted you to the project?
I think it was, I think the story, it kind of struck me like, I did a movie years ago called Lawn Dogs, and it kind of struck me, it had similarities, it was like an older version of that. It had, excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. Excuse me, don't record that. Erase that. Disgusting. You know, there were similarities to a lot of different characters that I've already played, but I thought that this was another version of stuff that I've done, but I thought it was a chance to do kind of a film noir western type of thing, and I also thought that the character, I kind of think it's like if you took the character that Robert Duvall plays in Tender Mercies and you made him into an action hero, kind of. It's just kind of, that's about the most simplistic way that I can put it. And I thought that that's what was interesting about it, is that you take a regular guy, a farmer, he's a hunter, and he knows how to handle guns, but he's never killed anybody before. You know, he's just a normal guy, and you know, he gets thrown into this thing. He's just this. It's like it's you know, he's a hillbilly. You know, and he gets thrown into this world, this kind of film noir, western world. It's almost like a private eye movie in the Deep South or something in West Virginia. It's an interesting film. It's a thriller, but it's different from, say, a movie like No Country for Old Men, which is one of my favorite movies. It's because it deals with a terrible thing that the protagonist has done, you know, and he has to redeem himself somehow, and so it's like Crime and Punishment. It's like that Edgar Allan Poe short story called Telltale Heart, where he hears the heart beating and it scares the shit out of him. So he's done this terrible thing by accident, and yet he's still he's trying to get his shit together and save his family. There might be a way out. It's almost like he's in denial. He doesn't realize at certain points in the film, I think he thinks he can forget about it, maybe, and he can't, you know. So
how do you think John Moon will resonate with people?
I think hopefully everybody. You know, people who've everybody's stepped on a bug or, you know, done something that they have regret, or they feel regret. You know, not even guilt so much as regret. Mm-hmm. Regret more than even guilt, you know. There's a sense of heavy regret that you can regret things, mm-hmm. you know.
Okay. So what was it like working with David?
Dick. Selfish. Me. Really, this big screamer. Big screamer. Constantly, like Michael Bay, Michael Mann, you ain't seen nothing. No, David is great. He's, I love David, man. He's the best. He's so calm. He has such a great temperament to be a film director. He's so calm under pressure. He's extraordinarily calm. Jason Isaacs and I were talking about that. You know, like it's odd how calm he is. You know, and he's smart as hell. He's smart, and we've never disagreed about anything on this movie. I can't think of anything thus far where we've been on the same page the whole time, you know. I think he's just amazing. He's done a great job with this. He's a great guy, you know. He's a great guy. And good looking. To boot.
So what do you think he's brought to the film? Like, what does Jeff bring to the film?
I think he's just got great. I think that, you know, well, we're the same age, David and I, so we have the same kind of sensibility about films and story and our idea of, you know, all the sort of themes in the film, you know, bravery and fear and and sort of what, inner machismo, for lack of a better term, like what that is and what we're not. I don't think that David and I are particularly, like butch guys necessarily. I'll speak for myself, but I think that. But we have an understanding of what we have seen over the years in films and what I think that the thing that comes to mind with David and I is that we have the same idea of what it is to be a man, to be a man and all the multifacets of that, and what makes John Moon such an interesting man, and that he's so many things, and what the things that we want to imbue him with, Is that the right word, imbue? I don't know. The things, we want John Moon to be, the man that we want to be, I think. I think John Moon is this great anti-hero, He's a kind of a cowboy, and he's kind of a private eye, and he's a regular guy, he's a farmer, and but we wanted him to be a real off-the-grid, redneck. We didn't want him to be like cardboard cutout. And yet there is a mythic archetype about him. We had to create this kind of archetype that I think the book represents, like the character in No Country for Old Men that Josh Brolin plays. There's a mythic aspect to that protagonist, and then at the same time he's very real and he's actually very vulnerable. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, we had an amazing cast. What was it like working with, some of these people?
Amazing, right? Jesus,
We did that.
God, we had Melissa Leo, all these, God bless her, and William H. Macy, Jeffrey Wright. I mean, the list goes on and on. Ted Levine, Kelly Riley. I mean, it's just like, these people are just coming out of the woodwork. And, God bless America, man. We got James Planette, our gaffer. We got this Spaniard shooting the film. This crazy Spaniard. Grar. Du grar. Very talented young man. Very sassy Spaniard shooting our movie. We have some amazing crew. And, these actors are just phenomenal, just knocking it out. Thank God they showed up, because I was, Ophelia, thank God they all showed up, because I was burning the candle. I was burning the midnight oil. They needed to come in and save me.
Yeah. You were lonely for some reason.
I was a lonely actor.
So what was it like getting in a character and the accent?
It's always hard to do an accent. It's always hard. I worked with probably one of the best dialect coaches in the country, Liz Himelstein, who did Fargo, and she helped me on Conviction, and she helped Gary Oldman with Tinker Tailor, and she's just, the list goes on, her resume, and she's helped me with, I did Streetcar last summer, and she helped me with this dialect, this West Virginia dialect, and Liz Himelstein's amazing. So that's really helpful, and you know, it's like the accent is like a second job. It's kind of like, it's like learning fencing or learning how to play the guitar for a part. You know, you gotta like, it's like you gotta compartmentalize it. It's like a separate issue. And then there's the acting, and the sort of moment-to-moment problem solving of what the scenes are. And then there's the dialect, and the dialect you gotta kind of drill it. And, you know, I got a guy who's actually a deer hunter from West Virginia. He's a relative of my girlfriend's, and he'd tape my lines. Him and a friend tape my lines on a tape recorder and listen to that on my iPod, you know, and all that stuff. And you got to drill it, and watched Lonesome Dove a lot and stuff like that. You know, but Coal Miner's Daughter is a good one. But yeah, so that, yeah, it's, I work with my acting coach, this guy Terry Knickerbocker, and he's amazing, and he's a lifesaver. And you know, you just do a lot of preparation. And then I had the book on tape. I would listen to the book over and over again, and go through and make notes. And
I wish we had your script to show.
Yeah, but it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah.
You should keep that.
Yeah, I'll keep it.
Awesome. So what do you think about the book to screen adaptation?
Well, you know, Meryl Streep said that if you're a lazy actor, it's always good to have a book to go to, because you can see what the character's thinking, the subtext, which they don't always have in scripts. It's just funny coming from somebody like Meryl Streep to say that, but it's true. You can find all the subtext and what the character's thinking in the book. So that's very helpful, you know. So you tend to get more detail when you're coming from a book or you're playing a real person. There's just more detail, so you get a richer resource for the character, you know, and it's great. It's cool. You can really. It helps. I think it helps a lot. Like, you know, like the scene yesterday with Florence. Like the script is really tight and it's really good, and Dave and I tweaked it, and David's been really smart about that. How to streamline the script, and David's very, very smart about that, and what's a nuance and what's good storytelling and what is just excess, you know. But then there's some things, I think it's good to go back to the book after you've streamlined the script and kind of get little nuggets and little things that might help you get into the scene. And for instance, the scene where I abduct Florence, in the book he asks from the script, he asks her name, "What's your name?" And he says Florence, and he says, you know, a fella has something to do with stealing my wife, sits past that wall with his throat cut. So, but in the book, he says her name several times. He says it over and over, like 3 or 4 times. And it says something about what he's thinking. And I think it just gave me something for the scene. Because I felt like when he's doing that, he's trying to bide time and figure out what the hell he's going to do, and figure out what cards he's been dealt with. You know, who is this person, and, you know, what am I doing? I have a gun on this woman, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I just saw somebody get their throat cut, and, you know, I got to figure this out. And so it kind of gives him a chance to calm down and get his feet back on the earth, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that's like a nice little thing, you know. You can throw that in there. and they can snip it if they don't need it, but it's good for me, you know.
Yeah.